What is going on, guys? Welcome to your 47th biology tutorial, and in this video I want to talk to you guys a little bit more about cell division and also something called interphase. Now, in your body, your cells are busy doing one of two things. First of all, they could be doing their normal, daily routine. For example, your stomach cells are breaking down food, your muscle cells are contracting, expanding, moving your body around. Let's see, your brain cells are sending signals to each other to, think, communicate. So every cell in your body kind of has a daily routine that it does. Now, when it isn't doing its daily routine, what it's doing is it's busy dividing, pretty much reproducing, making more of itself. So the process or cycle of cells doing their daily job or dividing is called the cell cycle. So the very basics of the cell cycle are pretty much two stages, dividing or doing its daily routine. Now, cells actually divide in one of two ways, and of course, the rest of these tutorials are going to be focused on the division part of that cell cycle, and those, let me change my color, are mitosis and meiosis. Now, there are a few differences between mitosis and meiosis, and the first thing I'm going to do is talk to you guys about mitosis, but let me go ahead and give you guys a real quick example of each. Now, most of the cells in your body, and when I say most of the cells, I mean your skin cells, your muscle cells, your lung cells. What they do is pretty much whenever they want to divide, they take the parent cell and they split. That parent cell splits in two. So you end up with two cells, we'll call them A and B, identical to that original parent cell. So mitosis is pretty much a really simple understanding of, cellular division. Whenever you think of cells dividing, you probably think of mitosis. It's the first thing that pops into your head. Now meiosis, this involves sperm and egg cells, of course, in human beings, and it's the process where these cells are reproduced or produced. Now, a thing to note is that these cells have half of the genetic information of the parent cell. So basically, you can't just take a sperm cell and an egg cell and have all the information you need for a human being to develop. A sperm cell and an egg cell actually need to come together to form all of the genetic information. Can't talk today. The genetic information you need for that parent cell. Now, again, like I said, I'm going to be talking about mitosis first because I don't want to say that it's the easier one to understand, but it's a good starting point before we jump into meiosis. But before I do that, I want to talk to you guys about interphase. Now, you know how I said that the cell cycle was basically a very simple, explanation of this would be when cells are dividing or when cells are busy doing their daily routine. Well, interphase is actually what we call the process when cells are not dividing. So whenever your stomach cell is just busy, doing its thing, your muscle cells are just, not even thinking about dividing yet. The nerve cells in your body are just sending messages to each other, not dividing at all. This is called interphase. Before a cell is going to divide, it's experiencing this process called interphase. Now, a couple things that we want to know is interphase actually has three subphases, and it's G1, S, and G2. And you're thinking, all right, well, this interphase you said is the process where cells really aren't doing anything, any division. So how can it have three, subphases? Well, first of all, I didn't make these phases. I would just have interphase as one phase, but let me go ahead and explain G1, S, and G2. The G1 phase is basically when the cell is just growing or functioning normally. So, you have a little cell and it grows to be a little bit bigger, and let me just go ahead and draw the nucleus like this. So this is basically the G1 phase when the cell is, just growing or functioning normally. So another cool thing to note is that some cells remain in the G1 phase forever. Some cells in your body actually never get out of the G1 phase, like nerve cells. Let me get, oh man, my nerve cell is going to be really bad looking. It's actually not that bad. So this would be, an example of a neuron or a nerve cell. Pretty bad looking one. But nerve cells, for example, whenever you hurt your back, that's why recovery from back injuries and spinal injuries are so difficult because the nerve cells in your body don't reproduce like other cells. So since they don't exit the G1 interphase stage. That's why it's so hard to recover from those. A lot harder than it would be if you scratched your skin or broke a bone or something. So that's what the G1 phase is. The S phase of interphase is a little bit different. Now, we'll be talking more about chromatids and chromosomes later on, but it's pretty much when your cell duplicates its DNA, forming two sister chromatids. Now, again, we talked a little bit about DNA replication earlier on, but I'm going to be going over chromosomes and chromatids in the next tutorial. So for right now, just remember, this is a stage where a cell duplicates its DNA and it forms two sister chromatids. And if you guys don't understand what it means, then I'm going to be talking about that in the next tutorial because, it's more than I would like to cover in this one. The G2 phase, however, is actually it's a lot easier. It's basically after the cell is done experiencing this S phase and now it has two sister chromatids. What it does is it pretty much resumes its growth, and it's pretty much getting ready, packing its bags, getting ready to experience cell division. So, like I said, interphase is not a part of cell division. It's kind of the opposite of cell division. You have two phases in the cell cycle: interphase and cell division. Interphase is when the cell is just going about its daily routine, and cell division we're going to be talking about in the upcoming tutorials. So remember, interphase when a cell is just acting normal, not dividing. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.